wouldn't happen to know what he does for a living. Well, it just so happens that I would. ¿Qué ha pasado aquí? You wouldn't happen to know what he does for a living. You wouldn't happen to know what he does for a living. No sabrías por casualidad qué es lo que hace para ganarse la vida, a qué se dedica. You wouldn't happen to know, o sea, you wouldn't know by any chance what he does, qué es lo que él hace para ganarse la vida, what he does, a qué se dedica, what he does for a living. You wouldn't happen to know. You wouldn't happen to know, excuse me, Manolo, you wouldn't happen to know what he does for a living. It just so happens that I would. Pues, anda, resulta que sí lo sé. A ver, pregúntame. You wouldn't happen to know what he does for a living. It just so happens, da la casualidad de que sí. It just so happens that I do, or that I would. It just so happens that I would know what he does for a living. Hello again. This sentence are two sentences, two people talking to each other. The first person says, you wouldn't happen to know what he does for a living. It just so happens I would. Yeah. No sabrías por casualidad a qué se dedica él. You wouldn't happen to know. No sabrías por casualidad. You wouldn't happen to know lo que hace para ganarse la vida. What he does for a living. Pues justamente, precisamente sí. Ocurre que sí. Sucede que sí. It just happens I would. Okay. You wouldn't happen to know. You wouldn't happen to have. No tendrías por casualidad. Is you wouldn't have by any chance. Or you wouldn't happen to. Siempre con el negativo aquí. You wouldn't, la pregunta negativa. You wouldn't happen to have. No tendrías por casualidad un abrelatas. You wouldn't happen to have. No sabrías por casualidad dónde está Pepe. You wouldn't happen to know where Pepe is. You wouldn't happen to no serías por casualidad mi profesor nuevo. You wouldn't happen to be. You wouldn't happen to have, you wouldn't happen to know, you wouldn't happen to be, you wouldn't happen to be my best student, would you?
Oh, hello there. I was just about to polish the bedroom doors, but I can't find my polish. Where is it? You wouldn't happen to know, would you? You wouldn't happen to know where my polish is? My polish, mi abrillantador. And what about you? You wouldn't happen to know where it is, would you? No? All right. Oh, and my cloth! Where is my cloth? You wouldn't happen to know where it's gone, would you? And you? You wouldn't happen to have a spare cloth, would you? No? Oh my God. Where are my glasses? People are always playing tricks on me. I know somebody has taken my things. You wouldn't happen to know who took them, would you? You wouldn't happen to know where my glasses are. I can't see them anywhere. Oh, there they are. Oh, everything together. Oh, someone was hiding them from me. You wouldn't happen to know who it was, would you?
Okay, we're back. Listen, no sabrías por casualidad a qué se dedica él. You wouldn't happen to know. No sucedería que supieras. You wouldn't happen to know. You wouldn't happen to know what he does for a living. What he does for a living. What do I do for a living? I teach. What do you do for a living? What does he do for a living? What do they do for a living? What do we do for a living? To do for a living. What do you do? What do you do es a qué se dedica usted. What do you do for a living? Es a qué se dedica usted. Para ganarse la vida. De hecho, for a living nos sobra, se entiende. Pero suena bien también incluirlo. You wouldn't happen to know what he does for a living. What do you do for a living? What do you do? What do you do? La palabra del día. Horse. Suena caballo, a que sí, horse, pero es una A intercalado. Oarse, joarse. Horse. Estar afónico is to be horse. I'm horse. Ahora, soy un caballo sería I'm a horse. Pero I'm horse sin el A es yo estoy afónico. De hecho, un caballo afónico sería a horse, horse.
Hi guys, Felicity here. Oh dear, today we are going to have some fun. Oh, I have a message from Harriet. Oh, Felicity, today you have someone coming to help you. Oh, a mystery guest. But how can he help me? Help me? I wonder what he does for a living. I wonder what he does for a living. ¿Cómo se gana la vida? What does he do for a living? I wonder what he does for a living. Repeat with me. I wonder what he does for a living. Good. I mean, he can't be an entertainer for a living because that's me. But seriously, what does he do for a living? Obviously not an entertainer. This hotel only needs one entertainer and she is fun. Seriously though, what does he do for a living? I know, I'll message Harriet. What does he do for a living? He's an entertainer. He's an entertainer for a living? But I'm an entertainer for a living. Oh no, it's all I've ever done for a living.
All right, part 3 of our sentence. But let's go back to the beginning. Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to know what he does for a living? It just so happens I would. Pues precisamente sí lo sé. Sí, ocurre precisamente que sí. ¿Qué cosas? Sé todo, I can say. I'm surprising you. Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to know what Pepe does for a living? It just so happens I would. He's a plumber. Yeah. Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to have a pin? A pin? Huh. It just so happens I would. Da-da-da-da. I have a pen. It just so happens I would. Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to know French, would you? Well, it just so happens I do. Comment ça va, mon ami? Je sais français. It just so happens I speak French. My God. Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to be Richard Vaughan? It just so happens I would. I'm Richard Vaughan. Yeah. You wouldn't happen to be the boss, would you? It just so happens, pues precisamente sí, it just so happens I am. I'm the boss here.
Hey, how's it going? I'm just on my break. Boring. The adverts. We are looking for good-looking waiters and waitresses to appear in a new film. You wouldn't happen to know any good-looking waiters and waitresses, would you? Yes. It just so happens I would. It just so happens I would know some good-looking waiters. It just so happens you are looking at one of those good-looking waiters right about now. It just so happens I'm a good-looking waiter. And it just so happens that I know how to act. This could be better than my modeling contract. This is a great opportunity. And it just so happens I also know other good-looking waiters and waitresses. Well, I'm just gonna forget about the good-looking waiters for now. This is amazing. And it just so happens I have a date with one of those good-looking waitresses tonight. She could be the main actress and I could be the main actor. And it just so happens I have 5 minutes left to call them.